The biggest issue with Ethereum layer 2s is that they're still slow. Finality takes a few days. ZK rollups are like 40 minutes, but still take very expensive computation. I think Asia still is like the retail markets, while payments and DeFi and stuff like that, we see Latin America adoption. Crypto is fundamentally an attack on banks and centralized figures. So that's why US is against it and now warming up because they don't want to lose to China. So when crypto comes, it's fundamentally an attack on the centralized banking authorities. The issue is that they run into that crypto is inevitable. It is the future. It is the global financial dollar. So if London doesn't do it, and then Hong Kong becomes the hub, and then London loses hegemony.
We're in Dubai with Crypto News Z and in partnership with Global Blockchain Show, taking place here in Dubai in December. Today I'm with Rushi from Movement. So let's start from the beginning. Tell me about Movement.
I'm Rushi, one of the co-founders of Movement. We're working on bringing the Move virtual machine to Ethereum. For those that aren't familiar, Move was built by Facebook in the DM days, designed to be the fastest and most secure execution layer. And what Movement's working on is this blend of the Move language, which Aptos and Sui, I'm sure many of you guys know, bringing that to the EVM land and EVM liquidity while inheriting Ethereum security. So you can think of it as the fastest and most secure layer 2 in production today.
I never get tired of hearing about Movement.
Yeah.
It's the third time we talk about Movement on camera, which is really funny. I think like one of the things that it's really interesting for this crowd listening to would be how, as a layer 2, is it different than all the other ones?
Yeah, me and Mia have done this like 3 times in the last like 3 months, so I think she's gonna be sick of me after this one. But I think the current EVM L2 landscape is like pretty boring. We just saw some notable launches recently. Won't name names, but there's generally a lack of fatigue. There's a sense of fatigue for layer 2s. Because if you're building Uniswap, you can deploy on 5 different EVM chains, and there's no UX difference. If you use like Scroll versus OP versus ZK Sync, it's generally the same user experience. While Solana and some of the layer 1s are crushing, A, because they're the best trading experience, B, the best community, and C is differentiation. So once you get a Rust builder to build on top of you, there's not much other places you can go. While the EVM, you can deploy on Ethereum, you can deploy on Polygon, deploy on Darknet, or not Darknet, like Kakarot, and it's the same UX fundamentally. So what Movement's doing and how we're different is we're one of the first alternative VMs coming to market. We use a new language designed for safety and security. There's over $2.5 billion secured in the Move ecosystem and 0 hacks to date, knock on wood. And we're generally just focused on better UX. For developers right now, the EVM is very poor. It's slow, clunky. There's not much high throughput activity. With MoveVM, you have 2 things. You have parallelization, which is high throughput execution. So you can do thousands of transactions per second in theory. And secondly, is formal verification. So every year there's $4.5 billion lost in smart contract hacks. The MoveVM works on parallelizing transaction runtime, but most importantly, making sure there's no memory leaks, integer overflows, cutting down on the attacks we see. So I think from developer point of view, and I was a developer past, Move is the best place to go 0 to 1, while EVM has a lot more tricks. Yeah,
for the developers listening, I mean, if they come to Movement, what are some other cool projects on Movement, by the way?
Yeah. So I think like I'll start in DeFi, like Meridian, Echelon, Axel. Meridian's like liquid staking DEX. Axel's announcing their raise 8 hours from now, and they're like an AI agent for DeFi. So I think like on the DeFi side, we're really focused on secure DeFi. So if you're depositing ETH on layer 2s right now, there's a lot of hacks and Arbitrum, Blast, etc. We want to be the most secure layer 2 in production today. And I think beyond that, what we really look at is how do we enable good UX? So for like gaming apps or consumer apps like Bracket, which is like a swipe to earn or a swipe prediction market like Tinder, so you can bet on elections and games. You can check out Bracket, brkt.gg. They're the most mobile-friendly poly market, basically. We have Up Network, which is like a Movement phone, so you can come pre-install with Up OS, have all the Movement apps built in. So I think we're spending a lot of time at consumer and deepen, while also pushing forward secure DeFi.
That's really cool. Is there a specific type of not type of developer, like type of founder, let's say, that is coming to Movement?
I think what we see is like more younger developers. Obviously, I'm personally younger on the younger side. People are kind of tired of like the EVM Ethereum kind of circle jerk, where it's like the same 10 developers kind of congregating and talking about complex concepts that no one understands.
Yeah.
I think there's like new developers that are younger that feel the energy of like moving the move ecosystem. Obviously, Aptos and Sui are ripping today. They're both top 20 coins as of today. And in general, like the move language and move developers are increasing. People love the DevX, people love the ecosystems. So we're seeing a big migration from Solidity, Rust, Cosm Wasm to Move.
Mm-hmm. What do you hope to hit? I mean, the year is ending, so I don't know if the end of the year is a good mark, but maybe by like Q1 next year?
Yeah, so we have mainnet coming up. It'll be the first Move-based mainnet since Aptos and Sui. It'll be the first Move-based layer 2, and it's over 2 years of work coming up in the next few weeks, which makes my life a little bit difficult today.
Wow.
I'm excited to be here though.
Wow, long time coming. I mean, like really exciting. How many people work with you?
We have 42 people in the team, headquartered in San Francisco. I'd say half are production engineers and product and whatnot, and the other half are like BD, marketing, operations.
When you started working on this, like, if I remember it right, like it was a little bit different.
It was just me, Cooper, my co-founder, in a dorm at Vanderbilt, which is a college. Just us two and like 2 other engineers. So the team was 4 for the first 6 months, and we were broke, had no money, and like Cooper sold his car to pay for the engineers.
Oh my God.
So it was literally the trenches.
That's really like bootstrapping. I mean, and for everyone watching, you mentioned the Meta story there. Like, can you expand on that just so that they're aware?
Yeah. So a few years back, Zuckerberg and the Facebook team wanted to build a blockchain for the Facebook app. The thesis was Facebook had 1 billion users at the time, it's now more with WhatsApp and stuff, but payments was so broken. If you wanted to pay your mom in India and you're in New York, you had to use Western Union, which was slow, like expensive, and everyone knows how god awful it is. But what if there's a way you could use the Facebook app to send money from New York to Thailand or New York to India, the speed of light? So they put $1 billion in research. They started the DM project and Libra project, and they hired the best engineers in research, consensus, formal verification, and essentially built a blockchain from scratch that was called the DM or DM project. And that the Aptos and Sui teams were both part of that at the time. And it had all partnerships that every bank lined up, every consumer app. Everyone was really excited for this. It was supposed to bring crypto adoption to 1 billion users, literally.
I remember there was a book about it.
There's a book, and it was like literally the most exciting thing. And then SEC is like, no, you can't do that. Which, as traditional American standards, America hates crypto apparently. And this was like 5 years back when they like really hated crypto. So Facebook made a decision to shut it down because they don't want to go to jail. So then Aptos and Sui spun out as 2 layer 1s, building space, and then launched their own ecosystems. So the Facebook dream, unfortunately, was shut down, but hopefully through the work we're doing, we can eventually bring it back.
You're still working with the Meta?
We have some engineers from Meta that were at Meta, came over, but I would say we're the least affiliated with Meta. Obviously, I didn't work at Meta, while Aptos and Sui guys did. So I think we inherit a lot of the research that they did, and we still use the DM style MUA, which is like Facebook style. But I would say like we are probably least aligned.
Okay.
Yeah.
And in terms of adoption, like to get more people on the ecosystem, what's your moves?
Yeah, I think like Move developer growth has skyrocketed. The first year it was 3%. Last year was 3%. This year 7.5% of all monthly active developers, Move developers. Next year it's gonna be 13.2% forecast. So we're seeing near double growth rate, which actually outpaced SVM growth rate.
Yeah.
And it was tricky at first because when I started moving, everyone said Move was dead. This is after FTX, and no one was like, Aptos had 30 million TVLs. We was still launching, and people were like, "Oh, Move is dead. Stop building." And today, the Sui is the fastest growing token. I think it doubled in the last 3 weeks. And both Aptos and Sui are now top 20 coins. I think after this next bull, we'll see that quickly go to top 15, top 10. So in terms of token price, obviously, when token goes up, tech gets a lot better. But beyond that, I think people recognize that Sui and Aptos are some of the best, if not the best blockchains today. Fast finality, great UX, great DevX. Ecosystem, I'd say, is still nascent, and as Solana was, right? When Solana first launched, you had Solid, horrible wallet. You had very few developers. Price action, like Solana was nothing like 8 months ago, right? It was like $7. So I think like over time, when people mature and try using blockchain, the mentality changes a lot. So Move is going to be the next big thing.
Yeah, I mean, I guess people need to be patient, but it's good that they're impatient in a way because they just start playing with things and
Yep.
and trying to break it and judge it
Yep.
on social media.
Yep.
What is something that I mean, there's so many questions I could ask here. What's something that you find that the users want from movement specifically?
I think like we inherit all the tech from Aptos. We do a lot of fast finality work. So the biggest issue with Ethereum layer 2s is that they're still slow. Finality takes a few days. ZK rolls like 40 minutes, but still take very expensive computation. We want to provide a fast finality UX so that users can confirm transactions pretty quickly. So we have this concept called post confirmations, which enable you to have fast finality transactions. But beyond the tech, I think like we excel in the community and like marketing.
Yeah.
So when builders come to us, like, yes, the tech is cool and yes, they want to be builders, but you have Aptos and Suite. I would say like that tech is phenomenal. It's amazing. It's production ready. They come to us because we have the culture. We have the community culture where if you're a builder, you'll get day zero exposure to some of the best community members on the planet. You'll have exposure to me, and I directly work with builders as my first effort. So because of that culture, people flock to us. And I think that's led to the ecosystem that's pretty vibrant today.
Well, where's most of your community base?
I mean, like, there's two answers to this. I would say, like, the researchers and developers are Western and European, I would say. But I think Move really is big in Asia. I think Electro Capital has reported that majority of crypto users and crypto developers are now growing in Asia. Korea especially is a huge Move market. I think you were there for KBW, and us and Sui were title sponsors, and literally everyone was talking about Move, and both stages were Sui and Move and chains. I think beyond that, like, Korea, Taiwan, Asia really embraces Move and wants to push it forward, while we're seeing Solidity and like the Ethereum culture kind of die down in these parts. I think Bitcoin always will stay there, and people love Bitcoin in Asia, but it seems like the market is really picking up Move, picking up Solana, picking up Bitcoin as the next wave, while Ethereum, if you see in price action today, seems to be lagging.
Yeah, it's an interesting thing to watch, honestly. Market in Asia obviously has been hot for a while, mostly in terms of user adoption and also like obviously like on the trading side.
Yep.
I wonder, like, okay, in terms of like developers, like people building on movement, is it also mainly in Asia?
I would say the flagship teams that we have are Western still, like still New York, San Francisco, European, even now UAE we're seeing good amount. But I would say the most community-driven projects are Asian, because they really know how to build community. They have very access to developer talent that's extensive. So I would say like the projects in consumer that I'm most bullish on is the exotic markets like Indonesia, Thailand, where we see like people actually need and use crypto. Crypto in the United States is difficult from a regulation point of view, but B, you don't really need it. If you're in the US, you can send Venmo from New York to Miami, right?
Yeah.
So and like it's free to do that. You don't really need payments. Whereas from like Japan to Thailand, very poor infrastructure. Japan to like Nairobi, Kenya, it's nearly impossible to do that, right? So like the usage for crypto will be overseas and from New York to overseas. There's obviously some like RWA stuff and tokenized T-bills that are cool, but I think the builders still come or like VCs, builders are still American, Western, but the users come from Asia.
Yeah. Do you have any interest in like the LATAM region and even like Europe? Let's say?
I mean, I lived in Brazil for 3 months. Falo português um pouco.
Eu falo também.
Wait. That was if you're Portuguese, I'm sorry I butchered your language. But yeah, I lived in Sao Paulo, and yeah, like 1/3 of Argentina uses crypto. Brazil, like very, very big crypto pop. I think they did CBDC recently. Brazil regulation can be better, I'd say. Argentina is very, very pro crypto, obviously because currency issues, but like Latin America is huge. I think like it's mostly payments that we have seen. We haven't seen consumer or a big retail trading population.
Yeah.
Maybe that's because of just like culture, but there isn't a lot of like market speculators in Latin America. But again, I think that's yet to be changed.
More safe.
Yeah, while like Hong Kong, Singapore, there's big buying, like Seoul is big buying pressure and selling pressure. So I think Asia still is like the retail markets, while payments and DeFi and stuff like that, we see Latin America adoption.
Yeah, and in Europe, mostly talent, I hear.
Yeah, Europe is the good engineering talent. I think regulations are like still a little strict in Europe.
There's clarity.
There's clarity, but there's a lot of like lockdowns. I think Revolut's trying to do stuff with crypto. But also it's like if you pay in France, they have like Revolut, which is like pretty good intra-Europe infrastructure.
There's Revolut, there's Wise, there's a few.
There's a few. It's like pretty good at payments. I'm not sure, like, and there's not like a lot of buying pressure. I actually don't. I think London is decently good. I know A16Z office is there now.
It's still like very risk averse when you compare, when you compare to the US.
Yeah.
Europe is more cautious.
I mean, it's like every market, right? Like you look at stock markets, there's not that much volume in European markets, while like America dominates in like Japan, Asia markets. So like I think generally Europe is lacking in financial products, and hopefully that changes. But I don't see that's a concern. Europe, for better or for worse, they already have kind of good infrastructure, and like honestly, there's not much unlocks there. I think Swissborg is one of the players doing a lot of work there, but really I see like where leaders are is like from Asia and Europe and States, and that's how it works in financial markets, right? Like you look at equities, U.S. stock market is still the biggest, and then Japan stock market is huge, China stock market. So like regardless, I think U.S., China, Japan, Korea, and some of those regions are still dominant.
Yeah, I do think like I could see like UK and Germany and Switzerland like doing stuff, but maybe after someone else does, like they will follow the steps of another country.
I might get killed by a few Europeans, but like I've never heard of a financial innovation in Europe.
Yeah, I mean there's financial district, whatever you want to call, like London is known for.
Yeah, London's good at banking, and there's a few trading offices. I think GSR is based in London.
It's strong in fintech.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Again, I've never lived in Europe, so I can't speak for it, but I haven't heard much excitement about finance, like digital finance.
It's funny because I used to live in London.
Yeah.
And every time I would go back after going to conferences and stuff, I would go to some fintech events and mention crypto. And these older men like that invest, like they're proper like fintech investors, like they invested in like the biggest stuff. They would like get red, like fighting with me, like verbally. Now, obviously London is very polite, so it's not a fight, but it is a fight. Like,
I mean, crypto is an attack on banks. That's what it is, right? It's attack on centralization. That's why America pushes back on it, because if crypto wins, you question the U.S. dollar, you question the U.S. banks. So in theory, and that's why JP Morgan says one thing and then Jamie Dimon says something else, right? So I think like crypto is fundamentally an attack on banks and centralized figures. So that's why US is against it and now warming up because they don't want to lose to China. And then for London, it's like a lot of old money. It's a lot of institutions there that have not done anything different for the last 25 years. So when crypto comes, it's fundamentally an attack on the centralized banking authorities. But centralized banking authorities are awful. Very predatory, pretty hard to use. Like if you try sending money from London to India, London to like Nairobi, there's a lot of middlemen and fees. Crypto is an attack on that. But the issue is that they run into that crypto is inevitable. It is the future. It is the global financial dollar. So if London doesn't do it, Hong Kong will, and then Hong Kong becomes the hub, and then London loses hegemony. So to those, if you're hopefully you're regular watching this, don't sue me. Any words are not affiliated with it, but get your shit together. Crypto is coming, whether you like it or not. If you're gonna act like it doesn't exist, you're gonna lose in 25 years.
I mean, yeah, it's not a hot take because honestly, I feel like many people would agree with you.
I mean, like there's crypto viewers watching this, they'll probably agree with me, but yeah.
Yeah, mostly crypto, yes.
Yeah.
For everyone watching, is there anything exciting that you want to announce other than what we already know?
With Mania coming up, I would just encourage you to follow my Twitter, follow Movement Twitter, and stay tuned for another Mia Rushi podcast.
Yeah, every month now.
Every month.
Tell them what's your handle for Twitter.
At Rushi Manche on Twitter, and then at Movement Labs XYZ on Twitter.
Rushi, thank you.
Thank you, Mia.